Welcome to Breaking Ice and Building Bridges from Possibilities. I'm Kelly Johnson.
And I'm Byron Jackson. Glad you're here.
Connecting a community through conversation.
Hello. Welcome to Breaking Ice, Building Bridges. Once again, you have the torture of Byron Jackson here as your host. And so I have people tied down the chairs because people will not voluntarily come in and talk to me anymore. I don't know why, but you know why. We have wonderful guests today, and I will tell you, just between you, me, we have some wonderful shades of color here today. And I'm not talking my clothing. We just have some wonderful shades of color of people. And that's what I'm always looking for. Colorful, beautiful shades. Isn't it great? Like, Arturo, how are you? Isn't it great, though? Like, people are made, I'm sorry, microphone, but people are made so, like, uniquely, and that we all have all these different shades of color.
Yeah, diverse.
Yes. Do you ever get crayons when you were little?
Oh, big time. Yeah. And the bigger the crayon pack, the better. Because there's so
big
much more colors to choose from.
Those big old boxes with 2,000 crayons in them, and there's like all these different colors. So that's what we're like today, a big box of crayon. Here are my wonderful guests, the wonderful, beautiful. I'll start with Arturo, and what's your last name?
Alonso.
Okay, two first names.
Yeah, I know exactly. I get that a lot, actually. And I have two last names, so it's Arturo Alonso Sandoval. And people usually think Alonso is my middle name, but I just have two last names.
You know that your initials, like, could actually be AA.
Yeah, double A.
So, do you get many calls from people that are drunk going, I really want to sober up?
Oh, yeah, the double A. No, not yet, at least. Haven't run into that.
I need to quit drinking.
Yeah, I'll give him the best advice I can give him, but it's probably not going to be.
Call Byron.
Right, call Byron, exactly.
Call Byron. And
that AA is awesome advisor.
Yeah.
It is. And then Gena, Timberman.
Yeah. I've had all kinds of things. I've had people introduce me as Timberland, Timberwolf.
Well, you know why I think Timberland?
It'd be cool if it were like Timbaland, like the artist, then
That's what
that
I'm
would
saying.
be like more street cred.
You have street cred. So
Timberman.
Just start producing music.
That's why I
now.
have Timber People.
Oh, that I figured that out. I have, in dedication to you, I got a plant identifier, and I have been going up to trees. I listened to your first podcast. Gena has her own podcast that she does called The Timber People. And so I've been going up to trees and identifying what they are.
Yeah.
And so it's just been fascinating. Some are like enemies to the state because they've been brought in and they weren't supposed to be brought in.
I need to get an identifier because I keep killing some plants. But, that concept of timber as, like fuel, but it really applies to, the natural materials that give strength and build and construct, create, provide shelter.
That's true. And protect if I could, Steve will get to you within the next 2 or 3 hours. But at my house, when I moved in, there was nothing but field in the back. So when I cut my grass, I would just throw the clippings over the fence instead of disposing of them properly.
Did you have a neighbor back there?
No, there was nothing but field.
You must have been really popular.
And anyway, so trees have grown up all along my fence. So I have all these huge trees that I have caused to be there. So the bad thing is I have to replace my fence. The good thing is my fence used to get blown over by the wind all the time. Yeah. But with the trees there, they protect my fence.
Yeah.
And so There's a metaphor there somewhere.
Trees also teach us a lot. You can look at the rings, in a tree and look at growth, maturity, look at, kind of their experience. And so people, there are some parallels there symbolically.
And dogs pee on them. And then last but not least, my friend with notebook and doing what I can himself, Mr. Steve Warren. What is your middle name?
Yes. Dean.
Is it?
Yeah.
D-E-A-N?
Yep. So I've got some friends from like junior high and high school that call me Dino.
Oh, yeah.
And, there's a couple of people, I guess 4 or 5, that I am known as Dino to them. That's all they've ever called me for 50 years.
Now, you guys, I've known Steve for several years now. But I will tell you, was the thing that fascinated me with Steve. I can talk about you because you're here.
Talk about me when I'm not here. I won't know.
Will you leave? But the thing I liked about Steve is, so at church, which I haven't been to in several thousand years.
Duly noted.
But Steve would always go up to everyone and say hello and welcome them. And that stuck with me so much that I started doing that too. And you would think that at a church, everyone would do that, but hardly anyone did that. And Steve would be there, and Steve would just, so you've just been a great inspiration, and now you feed people.
Thanks, Byron. You're an inspiration.
Thank you. By the way, I went for the first time to the regional food bank yesterday. And that place is bigger than like 3 Sam's.
Yep, it's big.
And their food is just it's a huge. So
yeah, they got an operation.
Yeah, but they could get you if you could get them to deliver some food to you.
If we were much bigger, they would recognize our presence on Earth, but we are not big enough for them to recognize us yet. But we're working on it.
Okay.
Operative word is yet.
Yes. There you go. Yet.
So you do it. So let's start with Arturo because I know the least about you. Why are you here?
That's a good question. Yeah. Well, I was invited, I guess. That's why I'm here. No, but I'm excited. I always love learning and talking to people because right now, I mean, one of the roles I'm serving in the state legislature. I'm currently serving as the youngest state representative in Oklahoma's legislature, representing a district that's predominantly Hispanic. And I love amplifying and uplifting voices and really understanding people, building empathy, and trying to see how our state can move in a better direction to really put people in the forefront of the decisions that we make as a state.
Now, you're the youngest?
Currently. Not youngest ever. Yeah.
So at what age did you go, I think I want to do that?
This happened last year. So,
but I mean, when did it hit you, like, just to run for office versus be a dog catcher?
Yeah, a dog catcher. I would have made a good dog catcher as well. No, but so this was something I never thought I'd get myself into. Last year, there was a group of leaders that reached out to me with the opportunity to run with their support. And at first, at this time, I was finishing my last semester at OU, and I got my degree in mechanical engineering. So
you and your brother, same degree.
Yes, we're both engineers, but he's actually practicing engineering, and I'm not at all.
You're
doing
practicing politics.
Did you ever attend class for each other since you're twins?
Oh yeah, well, only in high school, not in college. In high school we did, and we did get caught every here and there, but the teachers always thought it was funny.
I wonder, could you do that at the Capitol? Switch out.
I don't think anyone would notice. So, I try to keep it on the low that I have a twin.
They're right on top of it down there, aren't they?
So people don't realize, I think most people, I've been trying to do a good job of keeping it on the low that I have a twin brother so that whenever I do send them, they won't know. They catch them off guard. So I'm trying to keep that as much of a secret as possible right now.
Your brother will pass all these bills that you're against, and you get back the next day and go, What the hell?
Your phone starts ringing in the middle of the night from all your constituents.
Why did you pass this? I don't know.
And I've thought about making him a subject matter expert in just a specific topic. I'm like, anytime we talk about that, I'm gonna send you in there.
Now, are you married?
No, I am a single guy. So
Would you like me to get you dates?
maybe a couple years down the line. Right now,
You're too. How old
We
are
need
you?
to keep him focused. Our state needs some really positive direction.
oh,
And
big time.
I really,
yeah.
Representative, I really appreciate your words and the passion with which you speak about serving, because not everyone serving our state has that. And we really need that. We have some wonderful people, some great people serving, but our state needs more of that.
Oh no, I completely agree. And being in there, seeing it in the front lines, I'm like, man, some people.
Well, as a Native person, as a Choctaw woman, I say yakoki means thank you.
means a
Can you
lot.
say
Thank you
that
so
again?
much.
Yakoki.
Yakoki.
Mhm.
Well, tell me about yourself a little, Yakoki.
Well, my name is Gena Timberman. I'm Choctaw. My family came to Oklahoma during removal, 1830s,
From Florida?
from Mississippi.
From Mississippi.
And I grew up in Mustang. I went to Oklahoma State, graduated from the University of Oklahoma School of Law, and my area was federal Indian law. Worked in D.C. under Janet Reno in the Clinton administration for a bit, and I just loved learning about tribal policy and working with tribes and the applications, what it meant for daily life for Indian people. And I knew I'd always want to be in Oklahoma and working with Native communities and building bridges. But I met Kelly Haney in 1999. My beloved, dear, late friend, God rest his beautiful soul, and miss him all the time. But I met him and the late Senator Kerr, beloved Senator Kerr as well. And they had a shared bipartisan vision to build a place to tell the story of how of how tribes came to call what is now Oklahoma home, whether they were indigenous or came to Oklahoma under migration or under forced federal removal policies. And so I've served as the director of a state agency, the Native American Cultural and Educational Authority. Sole mission was to build and operate, and at the time, an American Indian Cultural Center and Museum to tell that story, and develop a 300-acre site at the crossroads of America, I-35 and I-40. And so, going back, it went through many challenges, many beautiful memories and experiences, but some really devastating challenges at times. And it came to a standstill in 2013. I went to go seeking direction. I went to go speak to my late beloved chief, Greg Pyle of the Choctaw Nation. And, people like Sue Folsom and other connected people that were connected to our community. And I really wanted to serve with purpose, and I was really at a crossroads there myself. And I was encouraged to become involved with the planning of our Choctaw Cultural Center, which now we opened right before we opened the First Americans Museum. It's in Durant, Oklahoma. I was just there yesterday, and it is fantastic. And it is just a beacon of pride for myself personally and our culture and family and community. And I hope everyone gets to see it. But I was blessed in 2015 during that similar time to come back and work with great leaders like Governor Anna Tubby and others to complete First Americans Museum as a consultant. So I've been involved in many other things that, I do say, I'm Choctaw. I'm an Indian girl doing Indian things. So I've really enjoyed being a part of being a podcaster. Timber People, my podcast, is really about learning about people, what they're doing, what they're creating, what they're building. People like timber, they are fuel, they warm, they bring us together. They, they protect us. And so, anyway, that's a little bit about me. I live here in Oklahoma City, and I'm just honored, and it's a pleasure to be here.
These will be two great guests to have on your show.
I was just thinking that.
We'll get, let's go over here to Timberless Steve and
Dino.
Steve, tell a little about yourself. I know, but just tell from your words how you got to where you are right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's how I got there. I of course, I've known Byron for 25 years plus and watched what he's done with possibilities and in the community. And I've always been real impressed with that. And Byron just has a knack for bringing people together and just a warm soul. And, he had invited me to Possibilities, the PIP program at that time, several times. And I always, Byron, I have other things to do that weekend, always something else. But then I guess it was about 5 years ago, I decided, I guess the Holy Spirit was talking to me and said, go to this. And it was a 3-day weekend that changed my life. I didn't go into it with those kind of thoughts that this is going to be a life-changing thing. But while I was there, I met a young lady that just really inspired me because she lived up on the northeast side of town, Oklahoma City, and she was going out once a month making casseroles in her kitchen on Sunday and taking them out and finding people that were hungry. And, I talked to her several times and thought, if she can do this, why can't I? So a couple of weeks after that weekend, I reached out to Cherie and said, let's have lunch together. And we met for lunch, and I told her, how much she inspired me and what, great things she's doing. And then she asked a real direct question. She said, what are you waiting for? Mm-hmm. Talk about putting the pressure on, So I went home that evening and told my wife, we're gonna start making some lunches for the homeless. So we started with 25 ham sandwiches, bag of chips, a couple of cookies, and some water and a banana twice a month. And we're going around, up and down the alleys and the parks and everywhere we could find them in Norman. Then we boosted it up to 40, and then to 50, and then we realized making these sandwiches is way too labor intensive. Let's start cooking hot dogs. That's, give everybody a couple of hot dogs. So we switched gears and started doing hot dogs, and short story long, it just kept growing and growing. And we were outgrowing our house. We just didn't have the space for everything and the space to actually put it together. So went down to Morningstar Storage there on 24th in Norman, thinking, how much is a place going to cost me to rent? And they said, if, we'll donate a place to a nonprofit, all right. So, now we've got a little 15 by 30 storage building that is packed. And currently, we're doing 160 lunches every Sunday. We're doing 75 breakfasts on Tuesday and 96 breakfasts on Wednesday. So, it just keeps growing and keeps growing, and people keep just getting in my way. I can't get around them that they want to help. God just keeps putting people there that I have to thank, John Daly and Major Ed, Heart of a Lion Foundation, gave us our first grant, which I'm, just beyond grateful for what they've done for us and the help that they've, promoted us in their circles, which is just huge. But, right now we're, I'm just all about the business. I want churches involved. I want civic organizations involved. I want families involved. I want, everyone that I can get, I want to come and help us put lunches together. And my big thing is I want parents to bring children. And I don't care if they're little kids that all they can do is scribble on a sack. That's their artwork. But I think that if parents will start bringing their little children out there to volunteer, and if they'll be consistent on bringing the kids out and showing them what we're doing, then by the time these kids become adults, we're going to have a much stronger community because it's going to be instilled in them. I've got to give back to people that are less fortunate than me. But we've got some families that it's just so heartwarming that when you see a mother standing there, we have all these sacks lined up, and you see a mother and she's holding, like a tray of say peaches, and their 7-year-old son is going one at a time, taking it off the tray and putting it in a sack, one at a time. It may be slow, but it's teaching the kid, and the mom and the kid are working together for a purpose. And it's just so heartwarming to me to watch that. But then also, we've got churches that'll volunteer. We got restaurant that volunteers. We got lots of people. But then I want a Sunday where people come to put lunches together and nobody knows anybody. Yeah. And that way, by the time that they leave, an hour later, they're going to leave and they're going to know somebody. So there we go, building bridges. We built a bridge between two communities that possibly never would have met. Right. And also, if I can get churches, because you go to a church and you're at the Baptist church. Well, those Presbyterians down the street, and the Presbyterians are down there saying the same thing. Those Baptists down the street. But if we can get them together, simple little thing, let's put lunches together and let's just have a good time, enjoy each other's company, then they're going to come together and say, we're a lot closer than we thought we were.
Yeah, it's that deleting that us versus them mentality.
Yeah, we're all here together. So, that's some of the direction that we're trying to go, and it's baby steps and a little bit at a time.
Thank you. I'm going to throw a word out to you guys. Tell me first thing pops in your head when I say the word. Ready for the first word? Start with you, Arturo. Joy.
Joy? Well, I think a lot about my family. I guess that's not a specific person, but if I could think of one specific person, that the first.
You don't have to be a person. It could be your family.
Yeah. No, I mean, my family gives me joy, and they've contributed so much to me and being who I am right now, and I'm super grateful for them. They give me joy. So that's the first.
Thank you. Steve?
I think this time of year, you say joy, I'd have to say Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Gena?
I have to say, seeing my baby niece, despite all of the hard things, with the museum and finishing FAM, the joy that I saw seeing her, she was just starting to walk. This incredible video of her kind of going through. We have this mezzanine with a loan from the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian. There's something about the lighting there, but I think she could also feel my energy of just feeling so happy that we finally opened the museum. That while she could barely walk, she would get up and run and fall down, and she was giggling and laughing and squealing with delight. And that to me was joy.
Thank you.
So who do you think of when you think of the word joy? Or what do you think of?
Thanks, Arturo.
Thank you, right?
Right, hey.
I think of...
You beat me to it.
I think of inner peace. And so my personal philosophy, actually, last night we had this kind of discussion about this. So I used to think that my happiness was about achieving my goals. But I have realized that my happiness is about my happiness. And my goals will fall into place. And so so now my question, I know this is a lot, but my answer is much more, what things do I have in my life to take my joy away? And so trying to remove those things.
So are you equating happiness and joy in the same glass or on the same plate?
Yes, but not in the way that, like I'm giddy, happy all the time with a smile on my face, but joy in terms of I am like grateful for, I'm grateful for what's happening to me, and that I realize this is a gift.
More of an inner peace?
Yes.
I was just thinking, like, I would associate, for me personally, I'm glad you say that. I almost associate peace with happiness and joy with like a sense of like exuberance or of rejoice, maybe. I don't know. Or like, I don't know. Yeah.
See, I think of...
It's a good question.
Of course, I can think one time of joy this way, another time this way, another this way. But I think of joy as more of an inner peace kind of thing. Yeah. Of where you are in your lot in life, if that makes sense. Are you content with your lot in life? And not that you don't still have dreams and aspirations that you want to do better.
Well, most of the time, what pops in my head first is dissatisfaction with my lot in life. And so my work is, how do I reach that peace where I'm peaceful with the lot that I have? I don't need to be.
And one thought that just kind of comes to my mind, I mean, thinking about joy and peace. And I know the other day I was kind of just sitting in my office and I was like thinking a lot about the future or a lot about some previous events. And then I was like, wait a second, but like, let me just focus on the now, focus on being present, being mindful. And I think in that moment, I was able to kind of find some joy in that, because like, hey, like regardless of what happened or what's might happen in the future, I'm here right now.
This moment. Yeah.
I think they're interconnected circles instead of like separate pieces. And
that's true.
And you brought up the word gratitude. I think that is something for me. I try to begin my day or end my day with thinking of peace, like things that, for which I'm grateful. And that is a moment kind of founding, opportunity in that moment.
This is amazing. I could talk to some people and go, this is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And we could be looking at exactly the same thing and they could go, this really sucks. Look at this. This isn't right over there and this isn't right. And I realize it's all perspective.
Yeah.
And that is how we choose to see the world. And, if you see, and so my goal is to see the world in a much more joyful place. Even though I have like the news and people screaming at me that it's terrible and that we're all going to just die any second. And I go, no, this is pretty good. The birds are eating, my kids are laughing, your family's here.
Yeah, so always seeing the joy in everything.
Yeah.
Our wind here changes like, so much, so easily. I think our minds are like that too.
Oh, that's a great
Our perspectives
analogy.
are like that too, it's like...
You should do a book on like metaphors. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad we have it recorded because I don't have anything to write now. But
I want credit though if you do a book.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Byron.
Heck, I'd feel much better if we did, like one of those books where it's a collaboration and we've picked different people to each write their own chapter on that topic. Now we're talking.
Could mine be R-rated?
I'm sure it would be.
Like 50 Shades of Grey style?
No, just so I could
did I come to the right podcast today?
I just curse like a sailor.
So I do want to bring up something.
Although our time is almost up.
He's not looking at me, so
You quickly.
So okay, Steve. I'm resisting not calling you Gena.
You can call me whatever you want,
Thank you.
Gena.
So, Steve, I love you have a shirt on in your materials, doing what I can. And that really speaks to me because you mentioned in your story, in your shared story about your experience, what are you waiting for? And I think so many people, and I think there's a lot of this is rooted in so many cultures and communities of how they got to Oklahoma with historic trauma of, someone telling them what they had to do. So we're waiting for someone to, so I think it's important to bring that up when we're talking about different cultural or community perspectives of what are you waiting for? But I love that doing what I can, because that's even about sovereignty and the power of the individual to make a difference, But I oftentimes say, if not you, then who? And so that really speaks a language to me that I really think is powerful. And I think people, it's a conversation starter. And so I really appreciate your brand.
Well, I came up with that name one afternoon sitting at my desk when I was supposed to be working, but I was thinking of other things. But I came up with that because, doing what I can. We've got a couple of retired ladies that are shut-ins that decorate sacks for us, that they can't get out. And they would love to help in all kinds of different things around the community, but they can't. Right. But if they can do this, if they could just decorate the sacks for us, that is a huge thing for us, and it makes them feel part of it. But then so many times, he's waving his fingers here. But so many times, the only people that get the recognition is the large donors. Right. And it's all about me. It's all about me. I give so much money. Look at me. But doing what I can gives just as much recognition to the ladies that are doing the sacks, to the guy that can only give, $5 or $1. I had a homeless guy that I see periodically. Over the last several years, I see him a couple times, several times a year, I guess. But he knows me. I know him. A couple of months ago, he came up to me after I gave him a lunch, and he was over here, and he comes back up. He had $1. And he said, I want to give you this $1 to help with your costs.
It's about feeling connected to the collective. And I'll tell you what, and I have many other questions that I will save, Byron. One moment, please. I will save for my podcast because I have a lot of good questions for you, and I know you'll answer them in beautiful ways. But, I do think it is important and volunteers do not get enough recognition. And it's important. It's important. So thank you.
Doing what I can. I'm trying to end this on time. I want to thank you guys. This went very quickly, didn't it? Well,
I feel like it always feels like 5 blinks and it's over.
It's like this is over. Arturo, Steve, Gena, thank you guys very much. This is Byron. Santiago, we're out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Connecting a community through conversation.
Breaking Ice, Building Bridges is the Possibilities Community Podcast platform. Thanks for tuning in.